Have you ever wondered what might happen if, instead of chasing him, you simply stopped? If you shifted from being the one waiting, questioning, and hoping, to the one quietly confident, intriguing, and utterly irresistible? You've felt that uncomfortable tension, those moments when he retreats into silence or distance, leaving behind uncertainty and self-doubt. You replay every word, every gesture, seeking clues in his avoidance. Yet, here lies the paradox. The more desperately you seek answers, the more elusive he becomes. But listen closely. What if this pattern of avoidance isn't a rejection, but the key to igniting a powerful obsession within him? His distancing isn't about losing interest. It's an unconscious dance rooted deep in human psychology. When someone avoids emotional closeness, they're often protecting a hidden vulnerability, a sensitive place within that fears intimacy, judgment, or loss of control. His silence is less about who you are and more about who he fears becoming when emotionally open. Pause for a moment. Recall that instant when you last felt him drifting. Perhaps a brief hesitation, a silence longer than usual. Remember how your instinct was to close the gap, to reassure him of your presence. Yet, the harder you tried, the further he retreated. Now, what if you reversed your strategy? When you embrace strategic detachment, calmly and gently pulling back without anger or resentment, you awaken in him a primal urge to pursue. Suddenly, your absence becomes magnetic. It's a silent thunder, quietly echoing within his thoughts, challenging him to bridge the space you've effortlessly created. Your subtle emotional independence now ignites a powerful curiosity. He senses something different, intriguing, even captivating in your newfound calmness. The mystery of your gentle detachment sparks a deeper desire in him. A desire not merely to reconnect, but to form a bond far stronger than before. Take a breath and imagine yourself shifting effortlessly from confusion to clarity, from uncertainty to powerful confidence. His avoidance, once painful, now becomes your greatest strength. When you begin turning his avoidance into obsession, you'll inevitably face a crucial truth. Understanding why he really pulls away is the key to reconnecting deeply. It's tempting to personalize his distance, interpreting each moment of silence or withdrawal as rejection. Yet, beneath his quiet detachment lies an intricate tapestry of emotions he himself might not fully understand. Avoidance isn't about indifference, it's about safety. Most men who pull away are quietly wrestling with inner fears that often remain hidden beneath layers of false confidence or indifference. Maybe it's fear of losing autonomy, fear of vulnerability, or perhaps past emotional wounds, whispering warnings from within. What matters is that beneath the calm exterior is an internal struggle you might never fully witness, but can profoundly influence. Think about those moments when everything seemed to flow effortlessly between you, only for him to withdraw shortly afterward. You felt rejected, confused, wondering if it was something you'd done wrong. Yet, his distancing isn't about you personally. Instead, he's instinctively protecting himself from potential emotional pain, something that's far more about his own hidden insecurities than your perceived inadequacies. It's an uncomfortable truth, but men often fear emotional intimacy precisely because of its transformative power. They instinctively sense that closeness requires surrendering control, exposing their true self, and risking rejection or loss. As you come closer, his defenses naturally strengthen, and withdrawal becomes his unconscious way of maintaining emotional equilibrium. You might have noticed him pulling away just when things seemed perfect. Perhaps you've even blamed yourself, wondering if you've done something to trigger this retreat. But here's the paradox. The more meaningful you become, the more he might fear your influence, prompting withdrawal as a defense mechanism. It doesn't mean you're undesirable. Ironically, it means you're already deeply impactful. Your understanding of his true reasons for avoidance doesn't weaken you, it empowers you. With empathy, you can navigate his emotional barriers without defensiveness or desperation. By calmly holding your emotional space and accepting that his withdrawal is part of his internal journey, you subtly reassure him. You're signaling that you're emotionally safe, secure enough within yourself to withstand the temporary turbulence of his avoidance. Rather than chasing explanations, remain quietly observant, allowing him space to confront his internal fears. When he feels your gentle strength, your acceptance without pressure, you become his safe, emotional mirror. Over time, this makes you irresistible, a rare space where he can safely face and heal those hidden vulnerabilities that push him away. You don't have to fix him, just genuinely understand him. This alone will shift his perception of you dramatically, transforming you from someone he avoids into someone he cannot resist returning to. When the hidden reasons behind his withdrawal become clear, a new possibility emerges: the magnetic power of strategic detachment. Instead of losing yourself in pursuit, consider the unexpected allure that arises when you offer the gift of emotional freedom, both to yourself and to him. Imagine a river, flowing naturally, effortlessly carving its path. Now, picture yourself as this river, steadily moving forward without urgency, without resistance. This serene flow naturally attracts admiration. This same energy can transform your emotional interactions, pulling him in precisely by letting go of the compulsion to chase. Remember the times you felt irresistibly drawn to someone, not because of their eagerness, but because they maintained a confident independence, comfortably holding their own space. Similarly, your detachment becomes an intriguing invitation, an unspoken yet profound expression of your own emotional autonomy. It silently communicates confidence, worthiness, and self-respect, making you intensely magnetic. The intriguing thing about scarcity is its quiet power. When something isn't readily available, human psychology instinctively assigns it greater value. The less emotionally dependent you become, the more urgently he perceives your presence. By calmly occupying your own emotional center, you're subtly redefining the terms of the interaction, shifting him from avoidance to active pursuit. But how do you apply this practically? Start gently. Instead of immediately responding to every message or initiating every conversation, allow space for him to experience the void your brief silence creates. It's this pause, this carefully measured emotional silence, that transforms ordinary curiosity into focused pursuit. His instinct to chase awakens when he senses you're not chasing. Without tension or manipulation, your detachment naturally fosters mystery. He becomes eager to understand what you're thinking, feeling, and doing without him. Your quiet independence ignites an irresistible challenge, one he can't help but pursue. Consider a fire. It doesn't chase, doesn't beg for attention, yet effortlessly draws others near with warmth and radiance. Similarly, your calm self-possession radiates authenticity. It subtly assures him that your emotional fulfillment isn't exclusively tied to his actions or reactions. This subtle independence amplifies his desire to reconnect, triggering an intense drive to bridge the emotional gap. Strategic detachment isn't about distance, it's about rebalancing the emotional scales. You're no longer handing him control over your emotional peace. Instead, you're reclaiming it, becoming intriguing, powerful, and irresistibly magnetic by simply choosing yourself first. When you begin mastering the delicate art of strategic detachment, a new door opens, a door leading directly to becoming his emotional safe haven. This chapter explores how, by establishing yourself as his emotional refuge, you naturally transform his guarded distance into a powerful need to reconnect and stay close. Picture yourself as the only quiet place in a loud, restless city, Amidst the noise and constant emotional demands of daily life, your emotional presence provides a sanctuary, a safe, judgment-free space. Men, though rarely admitting it, deeply crave such a haven. They're silently searching for someone who allows them to momentarily lay down their armor without fear of exposure or rejection. You've likely noticed he retreats precisely when conversations hint at emotional depth. This protective instinct comes from his internal belief that vulnerability equals danger. But when you consistently respond with acceptance and calm openness, it gently reshapes his subconscious associations. Suddenly, vulnerability feels less threatening and more like an opportunity for deeper connection. But how exactly do you become his emotional sanctuary without sacrificing your emotional boundaries? Begin by recognizing his emotional signals, not with anxiety, but with compassionate curiosity. When he withdraws or hesitates emotionally, respond with patient neutrality. Resist the urge to question or confront. Instead, allow him the freedom to experience your unwavering steadiness. This invites him to lower his emotional armor voluntarily. Every human being longs for genuine validation, a desire intensified during emotional stress. By becoming a person who genuinely listens without immediately attempting to fix, advise, or control, you position yourself uniquely in his emotional world. You're not pressuring him to feel or respond in a certain way. You're simply present, fully authentic, and emotionally stable. Reflect on a time when you felt genuinely heard, without conditions or expectations. It's powerful, isn't it? This deep sense of being emotionally accepted without reservation creates an unconscious bond stronger than superficial attraction ever could. It signals safety at a primal level, whispering silently that you are someone rare, valuable, and profoundly irreplaceable. However, becoming his emotional safe haven does not mean abandoning your own emotional independence. It's crucial to maintain your internal balance, clearly defining where your emotional space ends and his begins. This clarity, paradoxically, enhances your allure. It signifies strength, self-respect, and emotional maturity, qualities inherently magnetic and deeply desirable. His emotional distance is often less about rejecting you and more about avoiding discomfort. When your presence consistently embodies comfort, understanding, and genuine acceptance, something remarkable begins to happen. He finds himself drawn toward you, almost involuntarily. His subconscious recognizes you as a place of emotional safety, someone who sees him clearly, without judgment or expectation. You're no longer someone he must keep at a distance. Instead, you're quietly transforming into the only space he can genuinely breathe, compelling him to seek you out again and again. When you've quietly become his emotional refuge, his unconscious guard slowly lowers, and he becomes subtly aware of a new reality, the possibility of losing you. In this chapter, you'll uncover the gentle but powerful art of awakening his fear of losing you without manipulation or games. Imagine the shift within him when he realizes you're not bound by emotional dependency. Your presence isn't guaranteed, your warmth no longer predictable. This unexpected shift is magnetic, not because of manipulation, but precisely because it's authentic. Genuine independence is captivating because it quietly demands his emotional investment. He feels compelled to bridge the subtle gap he senses emerging, the space he didn't even notice until you gently revealed it. Most relationships lose their spark because comfort becomes predictability, dulling emotional attraction. Yet, the moment you embody a calm, confident independence, one that says quietly yet powerfully, "I choose you, but I don't need you to be whole," you ignite a powerful response within him. This reaction isn't rooted in fear of abandonment, but in the sudden realization of your true worth. Have you noticed that when something precious feels slightly beyond our reach, its perceived value multiplies dramatically? When he senses your newfound freedom, his emotional perspective shifts. You're no longer just available, but something rare, something worth effort, something valuable enough to pursue. He now senses that if he doesn't actively participate emotionally, he might genuinely risk losing something uniquely valuable. Men are naturally wired to value what requires effort, what invites genuine pursuit. This isn't about making things difficult. It's about naturally aligning with the way desire functions psychologically. By embracing your genuine independence, you're subtly reinforcing your emotional significance, transforming his casual interest into focused devotion. Every authentic moment you spend confidently in your own space sends a clear, undeniable signal. Your life has purpose and joy beyond his presence. You're not waiting desperately. You're quietly living, genuinely fulfilled. Ironically, it's precisely this independence, free from anxiety or expectation, that awakens his deeper desire for connection. It signals to him that you hold something uniquely valuable, something genuinely rare. Quiet self-confidence can profoundly shift emotional dynamics. When you stop seeking constant reassurance from him, he feels an instinctive need to reaffirm your bond. Your subtle independence speaks volumes, communicating your worth in ways direct words never could. Your silence, your calm, your confident self-awareness become your loudest advocate. Think of the way you cherish moments that feel fleeting, fragile, or ephemeral, not because you're afraid they'll vanish, but because their temporary nature heightens their value. When your emotional presence becomes quietly elusive, yet undeniably authentic, he instinctively longs to secure that bond, to ensure your presence isn't fleeting. It's not manipulation, merely the powerful psychology of scarcity playing out naturally, authentically. This newfound emotional landscape isn't designed artificially. It emerges naturally, effortlessly, simply by embracing your authentic self-worth. When he feels your emotional security, subtly intertwined with gentle independence, the result is a genuine shift, from casual interest to profound attachment. Once you've awakened in him the awareness that your presence isn't guaranteed, you naturally move towards sealing the bond. From obsession to deep commitment, the thrill of pursuit draws him closer, but it's the emotional depth you cultivate that transforms his attraction into lasting attachment. Visualize yourself gently planting seeds in fertile soil. Each seed represents emotional trust, each small action quietly nurturing intimacy. You're not forcing closeness. You're creating an atmosphere that encourages openness. Gradually, he finds himself stepping toward emotional commitment, not out of obligation, but because it genuinely fulfills him. True intimacy isn't rushed, it unfolds slowly, one authentic moment at a time. Encourage this intimacy by carefully creating emotional safety around meaningful conversations. Rather than pressuring him to share, gently invite deeper dialogue through your own vulnerability. When you reveal genuine thoughts or feelings without expectation, you silently demonstrate trust. He notices your openness, sensing permission to mirror your honesty, gradually revealing his hidden layers. Think about emotional trust as an invisible bridge built quietly, plank by plank. Every honest exchange, every shared vulnerability, adds strength. The more securely this bridge forms beneath you both, the safer he feels to cross it willingly. He begins seeing commitment not as confinement, but as an expansive space where authenticity thrives, a place to safely reveal himself, free from judgment. Have you experienced that feeling when someone listens without pressure or expectation? It feels rare, even precious. Offer him that same gentle space, one that invites honesty without conditions or demands. Your quiet patience becomes an irresistible reason for him to emotionally invest deeper, naturally drawing him closer to long-term commitment. Actions matter deeply, yet they're often overlooked. Small gestures like truly hearing his concerns, remembering significant details, and reflecting genuine appreciation convey volumes without saying much. These subtle actions reassure him that committing to you is emotionally rewarding, creating security without pressure. The emotional satisfaction he experiences becomes the bond's strongest adhesive. Consider relationships you've admired, those built on mutual trust and enduring connection. They often share a single trait: mutual emotional validation. It's when both partners consistently feel seen, accepted, and emotionally understood. By validating his feelings genuinely, you lay foundations deeper than superficial attraction, inviting him naturally toward commitment. He begins associating your presence with peace and emotional well-being, creating an enduring emotional attraction. Healthy commitment arises naturally when emotional safety merges with genuine compatibility. Focus your energy on mutual alignment, common values, meaningful communication, and shared emotional goals. His subconscious registers this alignment as stable ground, prompting him to move closer naturally. Emotional bonds anchored in mutual understanding grow deeper and stronger, resistant to external challenges. The beauty of authentic commitment lies not in grand declarations, but in everyday consistency. Quietly show him through your actions that emotional investment leads to enrichment rather than limitation. Allow him to discover through experience that your bond is a sanctuary, a connection he chooses willingly because it authentically enhances his life. Each interaction becomes another quiet affirmation that commitment doesn't reduce freedom. It expands emotional richness, reinforcing the very reasons he sought your presence initially. When your bond transitions from a spark of obsession into something deeper, it's essential to understand that true intimacy flourishes most profoundly in safety. By intentionally becoming his emotional safe haven, you gently establish a space where he naturally feels drawn, not forced, a place he returns to willingly because it resonates deeply with his emotional needs. Imagine a shelter in a storm, a quiet, inviting place where defenses drop and masks are gently laid aside. This is the essence of becoming his emotional safe haven. Your presence isn't merely comforting, it's restorative, uniquely suited to soothe fears and uncertainties that he's learned to conceal elsewhere. Creating such emotional security demands genuine empathy. Notice him carefully, listening not just to his words, but to subtle shifts in his expressions and body language. Respond softly, yet intentionally, without judgment or urgency. Your empathy allows him to lower barriers naturally, confident that sharing won't provoke criticism or disappointment. It's in these quiet, unguarded moments that trust takes root. In the spaces between words lie powerful opportunities. It's tempting to fill silences, yet learning to appreciate the pause can transform ordinary conversations into profound connections. Offering him space to reflect, think, and process his emotions signals that you respect his internal journey. This nonverbal affirmation is invaluable. It quietly reassures him of your emotional maturity, making him gravitate closer naturally. Genuine emotional safety thrives on consistency. It's about small, authentic gestures repeated over time, signaling your dependability without imposing demands. Whether it's calmly acknowledging his frustrations without immediate solutions, genuinely listening to his aspirations without judgment, or remembering subtle details that matter deeply to him, each interaction builds invisible trust. His subconscious gradually recognizes your emotional presence as reliable, deepening his attachment organically. Have you ever experienced the profound relief that comes when someone fully accepts you, imperfections and all? Providing unconditional acceptance doesn't mean tolerating behaviors that hurt you. It means clearly communicating that you value his genuine self, beyond performance or pretense. This acceptance melts emotional defenses, allowing him to reconnect authentically and creating an emotional bond that's hard to replicate elsewhere. Vulnerability flourishes in environments where judgment doesn't exist. Encourage openness by sharing your vulnerabilities first, not from weakness, but from emotional strength and authenticity. Demonstrating your comfort in vulnerability subtly invites him to reciprocate, deepening emotional intimacy without pressure. He begins associating openness with positive reinforcement rather than exposure. Quiet confidence is attractive precisely because it feels reassuring, not demanding. When you communicate your needs calmly, clearly, without fear or anxiety, you foster an atmosphere of emotional maturity. You're modeling emotional health, implicitly inviting him to elevate his own emotional expression. Over time, your calmness encourages him to naturally drop defenses, sensing he's in emotionally stable hands. Gently recognizing emotional patterns allows for deeper intimacy. Without judgment or blame, acknowledge patterns when they arise, whether hesitation, withdrawal, or discomfort. Expressing understanding instead of criticism cultivates trust, signaling that he can safely reveal his deeper emotions without fear of rejection. Once he begins to feel emotionally safe with you, something remarkable happens. A silent shift takes place. Without saying a word, without forcing a reaction, you trigger something deep inside him. The realization that he wants you more than he ever thought possible. This is where his avoidance turns into pursuit. Not because you asked for it, but because he now feels compelled to chase you. Think about the most captivating moments in life, the ones that linger in your mind without effort. They're never the loudest or the most obvious. They're the pauses between words, the brief glance that says everything, the unspoken certainty that something valuable is slipping away. This is the psychology behind the silent shift, a subtle change in energy that makes him feel the impact of your presence by sensing its possible absence. Attraction isn't built through explanations, it's felt. Instead of over-communicating your emotions, you step back slightly and allow him to notice the space you once filled. You're not punishing him or playing games. You're simply shifting your focus from seeking reassurance to embodying quiet confidence. This change isn't external, it's internal, and it alters the entire dynamic between you. Men are instinctively drawn to what they feel they might lose. The moment he senses that your attention isn't guaranteed, his mindset changes. Your detachment isn't rejection, it's a silent invitation. It stirs something primal within him, awakening his competitive drive, not out of fear, but from a deep desire to re-establish the connection he now realizes he values. Imagine him scrolling through his phone, expecting a message from you that never comes. He pauses, wondering if you've lost interest. The curiosity becomes a subtle tension, a question he suddenly needs answered. Without realizing it, he's now thinking about you more than before. Not because you pushed him to, but because your absence has created a space he now wants to fill. The key to this silent shift isn't about pulling away dramatically, it's about making small, intentional changes. Maybe you take longer to respond, not out of strategy, but because your world no longer revolves around his validation. Maybe your energy becomes more selective, your attention more intentional. He starts noticing the difference. And that difference, no matter how slight, triggers an undeniable reaction in him. What makes this shift so powerful is that it doesn't require confrontation. You don't have to explain why you're stepping back. You simply embody it. The power dynamic changes without a single word being spoken. Suddenly, he starts showing up differently. His messages become more frequent, his presence more intentional. Not because you asked him to, but because the shift forced him to question what he truly wants. When a man realizes that your presence is a choice, not an expectation, he begins chasing you with a newfound intensity. Not because he's afraid of losing you, but because he now understands your value in a way he never did before. If you want more insights on relationships and avoidant partners, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.